here with Half Dozen Customs. We're out here on the Monte Carlo again for a little Monte Monday action. I've decided to work on the trunk lid. I know we had talked about it the last couple of weeks about getting started on this trunk lid. This trunk lid's not in the best shape. It's not really the trunk lid that I want, but it's the trunk lid that we got. And like I've said in other videos, for some odd reason they don't remake these trunk lids. They remake everything else from floors to roofs to hoods and quarters and no trunk lids. So we're gonna fix this one. I have looked online to see if we could pick up one in better shape, but everything that I found, you know, at the very least, people want 400 bucks for them. So I think we'll just fix this one. I explained in last week's video that I had punched out the trunk lock, I don't know, like 20 years ago. I had a set of 13-inch spokes that I could have swore was in the trunk of the car, and we couldn't find the keys, and so I punched out the lock to get to the wheels, and they weren't even in there. Never found them, don't know what happened to them. So, but now we got a trunk lock hole to fix, and we got some rust to fix as well. So I'll kind of show you what's going on. So this trunk lid was stripped along with the rest of the car, but they did prime it. But as you can see, it's all came back through the primer, so we're gonna have to strip and sandblast and whatnot. We got a dent right there. That's a decent dent. We have our lovely trunk lock here, which all the metal is still there. It's just folded in and under. I think the lock's in there too. When I was carrying the trunk in here, I could hear something rattling around in there. So I'm pretty sure the lock's inside there. We gotta try and get that out. We have some rust down here, which goes all the way through to the inside. So we're gonna have to repair the inside. This lip all the way along is bubbled and cracked and falling apart. So we're probably gonna end up basically grinding this edge or cutting this edge, however you want to look at it, peeling off the inside, sandblasting everything and putting a new inside piece in here. This side's a little rougher. There is a lot of damage on the inside, so inside's gonna have to be repaired. Then we can work on repairing the outside. But I think that's about it as far as noticeable damage. You know, I think I'm gonna start with this trunk lock first. There's gonna be a screw or a rivet down underneath here that pulls the actual the latch clip or lock clip. There's a clip that slides up in and holds the lock in place. So we gotta get that out and try and get this lock out, or this latch clip, lock clip out, and we gotta try and straighten that all out so we can get it out. It's all bent up in there. And then I'm thinking that we'll cut this out and see if we can fold everything back in place, hammer everything out, weld up what needs to be welded up, sandblast it all, and then reinstall it back in here. It's not the first time that I've done something like this, and when they're this bad like this, it's just easier to cut it out and get it out of the car, fix it on the table, and then put it back in. Worst case scenario, like I said, if I think that this thing's too bad to fix, then we're gonna cut the one off of one of the doors and we'll install it in here. I said something in another video about thinking that the top was recessed in where a door is straight, but it looks like this thing's straight all the way around. I don't think it had that recess in there like I was originally thinking, so. It looks like a rivet. So that's what we got there. It's just that little clip, and like I said, it's riveted in. You drill out that rivet, and then the clip's supposed to just come out, but being that it's all bent up in there, I don't expect it to just come out. They're not easy to take out when the lock is in there, that's for sure. But with the lock not being in there, so this is a clip. We'll be able to straighten him out. Alright, here we go. We're gonna cut this bad boy out. Okay, ta-da! So, let's see if we can straighten this out. So I still may not use this, but I'm gonna show you what I do to try and, you know, resolve this situation. Like I said, it may not work, but a lot of times I can make it work. So okay, so this is just a punch that I'm going to use as a dolly.
Ow! Quit it.
Okay, so we got this guy all hammered out, straightened out. So now this is ready to weld together, and you know, I think we can use this guy once we get it all sandblasted, cleaned up, and welded back to one piece. But before we can put this back in the car, I need to go get a trunk lock, and we need to make sure that the trunk lock is going to fit inside this hole. So I got everything pretty well, you know, hammered back in place and straightened out. You know, I'm happy with the way that this looks, and I'm willing to, you know, continue on with this piece. So so that's pretty much how I fix, you know, a damaged trunk lock like that. I mean, this was a bad one. A lot of times you get lucky and it just you know, it just punches through and it bends these tabs, and sometimes you can get in there with a screwdriver or a pair of pliers or whatnot, and you can kind of get it straightened back out. You know, this one was a bad one. It ripped. I really did a number on this. You know, it really ripped out the metal. But before I can put this back in the car, we have to get a trunk lock and make sure that everything's gonna fit. So, you know, we got this little clip here too that, you know, we need to straighten out. Okay, so we got that straightened out. I'll be back. I'm gonna go trunk lock shopping real quick. I won't have anything here today, but I'm gonna go see if I can grab one off Amazon and have it delivered so that it's here for next Monday. So I'll be right back. Okay, so I went and I checked O'Reilly's and Amazon. And O'Reilly's for just a trunk lock, which means that you would have to take the trunk lock and the door key locks to like a locksmith and have them keyed so that they all match. Because O'Reilly's, at least online, what I was looking at, they sell the trunk locks separate from the door locks. So, which means that they each have their own key, which she said that that's how her car was before, that the trunk was one key and the doors were another key, and then the ignition was another key. So I found the kit on Amazon where it's all three. It's trunk lock and 2 door locks on one key for 21 bucks. So, not bad. And I was gonna order it, and Colleen said that she wants the door handles, door locks, trunk lock, everything shaved. So we're not putting this back in at all. We're gonna trace this out on a flat piece of metal, and we're gonna weld it in. And then, so she wanted a proximity kit, which we can still do later on if we want to. But so I looked and I found a Bluetooth door popper kit. So it'll have a keypad It'll have buttons that you can hide. It comes with numerous different buttons, some waterproof, some not, that you can hide throughout the vehicle, so that if your key fob stops working, you can go hit a button somewhere. But the other thing that it has, the one that I put in the cart, is Bluetooth. It works from your phone, so you can turn on the lights, roll down the windows, open the doors, open the trunk, all from your phone. She doesn't have power windows, at least not as of right now. They're still the crank style. We may end up putting electric windows in here now. I guess since we're gonna have the kit, that'll do them. And then the proximity thing is just an add-on thing, which proximity means that once you get close to the car, it'll pop the door open for you. It's like a key fob. It just goes on your key ring, and once you get close enough to it, it'll open your door for you. But that's a totally separate kit that would hook up to the kit that we're gonna order. So we may or may not do that. I think Bluetooth and key fob is plenty fine. And then the trunk lock, that would be the only other concern, because when you do shaved doors, the poppers that you put in there pull or push. So the trunk lock is a turn. It's a turn mechanism. So they don't make anything for the Monte Carlo, nor do they really make any aftermarket kits that I could find. Definitely not on Amazon. And I actually went to Google and looked as well on Google. And Google has, what looks to be like the lock latch setup that's in here. But I found similar ones, like, I don't know, there's one that's a universal one that is for like Malibus, Regals, Cadillac. So I don't, if you guys know anything about cars, a Malibu and a Regal are very similar to a Monte Carlo, and they have Cadillacs from that era that are very similar to Monte Carlos as well. So I'm gonna order one of those, and we're just gonna, we're gonna put it in here, do whatever we gotta do to put it in here. So she'll have electric trunk lock and electric doors. So, and worst case scenario, I was talking with her, if there, for some odd reason, we just cannot make this trunk work, I'll put it on electric rams, and we'll just make it open and close on the rams. So, so yeah, I guess we're just gonna weld this hole up that I cut out. Wish I would have known that before we cut it out, but I wouldn't have had to cut such a large square. But it is what it is. We'll get that welded up, and we'll continue on with the rust. And I guess for now, I'm just gonna, when we go to put this back on, I'll remove the trunk latch so that it doesn't lock on us accidentally. Yeah. Okay, before I go into lunch, I just want to explain. So if we were to fix this and actually put a trunk lock back in here, how I would have done this, I would have put this in the sandblasting cabinet, got it all blasted up, cleaned up, and I would have welded it from the back side. And the reason that I would weld it from the back side is so that you don't have giant welds on the face of it that you have to then try and clean up. You weld it from the back side, and your big welds are on the back side, and you have just little protruding welds on the face of it. And I would have used, little grinder a reamer tool to go in there and clean up whatever we needed to clean up and get it all nice and clean. Then I would have cleaned up the backside so that when you go to put this guy back in, that it's not going to be catching on any welds or anything that, you know, you have sticking out the back. So we would have had to clean up the back as well as we could. And then I would have went and got the new trunk lock, and I have these mini files that I would have then went in and I would have cleaned up. Because this has been so hammered and bent out of shape, the metal is stretched. It's longer than it needs to be. I guarantee you, after we were to weld and grind this all up, a trunk lock would not fit in here because everything has been smashed and stretched out and it's just out of shape. So I would have, you know, came in here with a little file and started, you know, filing and cleaning up all these edges until we got the trunk lock back in there. Excuse me. So that's how I would have done this to finish this up. Sandblast it, clean it up, weld it from the back side, clean up the front side, clean up the back side, and then go in through with the file and clean it all up until we got a trunk lock to fit in there. And then once you got all that done, of course, this would have needed body work around here. And you know, you just kind of smear it in with your finger and sand it and smooth it all out and then get it ready for primer. You know, you want to get it all nice and clean and good in the metal so that you're not putting much filler on there, because if you put too much filler on around all that, you're going to have a problem trying to install the trunk lock later on. So you know, do it good in the metal work so that you don't have to do much body work afterwards. But yeah, so that's it. That's how I would have fixed this. Just so you guys know, I mean, we got it so far, and then I'm like, oh, screw it, we're just changing it. But we would have made that work. So see you guys after lunch. Okay, we're back out here after lunch, and we're gonna start with cutting this out. We'll do all the patchwork all at one time. So we have this one here, and then I don't know if you guys can see that there. Let's see. I don't know if you guys can pick that up in the camera or not, but there's some little rust holes there too. You can take my word for it. So we'll probably address that too. That might just get drilled out and get a weld. Okay, so you can see underneath there needs a lot of repair as well. I'm gonna attempt to remove the seam sealer all around this whole area here, because the rust is underneath it. bit yucky. All right, so we're gonna cut this out. I'm thinking we're gonna cut straight across here, and I think we're gonna come up right through this rain hole. And then this rust spot here we'll fix separately. Instead of trying to make all that in one piece, we'll just do it in two. It'll make it a little easier. Just making that piece is gonna be hard enough, so. Now, I'm hoping that the rest of this we can get away with just sandblasting. Now, I know some of these other spots here, like, you know, that stuff. Like, I know it's in the pinch weld. I know it's in between there. You know, the only way that I can really get in there is to cut that pinch weld off. And then we would have to sandblast underneath it, you know, spray some 2-in-1 in there, put a new pinch weld in, weld it all up. And then even at that, I guarantee that the rust goes up inside that pinch weld and down onto the inside. So even if we cut all that apart and sandblast everything and put it all together, put it all back together, if we don't cut the outer skin off and sandblast the inside of the structure, like eventually it's gonna creep back in. So what I'm gonna do is, it's a trunk lid. This car's going black. We're doing House of Colors black. We're gonna make the repairs that absolutely need to be repaired. We're gonna sandblast the rest. We'll re-seam seal everything. It'll get all painted. And I will keep my eye out for a much nicer trunk lid. And if we get one, we'll paint it, we'll put it on. If I don't ever come across one and something comes back, I'll repair it then, and we'll repaint the trunk lid. It's just a trunk lid. It's being House of Colors black. It's super easy to match. It's not a big deal to panel paint a trunk and put it on this car. Now, if it was going a silver or red, you know, something, you know, like a maroon, something with metallic, then, you know, then it would suck, because then you're having to blend out the quarter panels, you're having to respray the roof, the windshield pillars, the quarter panels, you know, then you're getting into, you know, you're repainting half a car to replace a trunk lid. This car, I don't have to worry about that. If we get a different trunk lid, or I have to make a repair on this trunk lid later on down the road, it's not a huge deal. I think the biggest deal would be taking the trunk lid on and off. So, but Like I said, we're gonna fix the nasty.
Oh, that's nasty.
And we're gonna do the best we can to fix the rest and forget about it until we absolutely have to. So, but let's finish cutting this out. I snapped some pictures of it. The inside's not as bad as I thought it would be. That means that side's not as bad. Okay, so we got that cut out. I know that the inside looks rusty, but it doesn't. It looks like it's just mostly surface rust. I don't think there's those two little pinholes that I told you I seen earlier. I was trying to shine the flashlight through the back. The reason you guys weren't seeing anything shine through is because obviously the inside was blocking it. But now that we got this cut out, I can see those holes just standing here. I'm gonna take this over to the little sandblast hut. We're gonna put it in there, and I'm gonna sandblast everything on that lower edge, and then we'll come back and we'll work on remaking this. You know, basically we're going to take a piece of metal, we're going to cut it, we're going to put it in the brake, we're going to bend it up. This little spot here and this, there's two bends here. Those are going to be difficult to recreate. We're probably going to end up having to do some cutting and welding to get that in there. But we'll get it in there. But I'm not bringing you guys in the sandblast booth with us. Maybe I'll show you guys once I get it in there, and then we'll show you the aftermath. But that's where we're headed. Let's get some sandblasting done. Yay, I love sandblasting. Alright, we got it in there. That darn thing's heavy, man. So, we got it in here. We're gonna get some sandblasting done, and I'll be back. Alright, we got some of it sandblasted. We still have more to sandblast, like, you know, we got some of the edges, like seam sealer needs to be cleaned out here, needs to be sandblasted, this spot, you know, pretty much this whole edge all the way around the trunk. You know, I think we need to clean out the seam sealer and sandblast it all. You know, I sandblasted around our button adjustment there, but I did not sandblast around that one. So I know this here still looks bad and like it's covered in rust, but it's not. It's actually, you can see all this stuff gooped, like dripped in here. Like there's something on it. Like maybe they sloshed something down inside the edges of the trunk when they were putting it together or something. It's some kind of rust proof or paint or something. I don't know. I sandblasted it and it didn't wanna come off. So I'm gonna hit it with the grinder or maybe a cookie or something, and see if we can clean it up a little bit better. But we did have a lot more holes pop through than I thought. I don't, maybe we'll just cut this clean across and we'll just replace all that, and then we don't have to worry about whatever that is that's going on there. Like I said, I sandblasted the bejesus out of it, and it wasn't coming off, and it looks like, you know, it looks to me like it's something that they put down inside there. Some kind of protectant from the factory. But you know, we got the rest of it all pretty much cleaned out. You know, is it perfect? No. You know, that corner over there on that side could probably use to be cut out. You know, you can see it's swelled up here. There's rust in between. There's rust right there. But like I said, I'm gonna keep my eye out for another trunk. I've been looking for a new trunk for this thing for years. For at least the last 3 years, I've kept my eye out. And you know, like I said, I've came across some things, but you know, for somebody who has a clean trunk with no rust, you know, they want $400 or $500 for it. And you know, right now I'm not willing to spend that. If I have $400 or $500, I'm gonna get all the suspension stuff that we need, or you know, go get a dashboard for it or something, rather than a trunk. I'd rather repair this trunk and deal with it later. So I think we cleaned it up pretty good. You know, I'm thinking that back edge, we're gonna cut that out a little farther, and we're gonna replace it all the way across the back. That side we're not gonna mess with. We're just gonna seam seal it and call it a day over there, and if we have anything come back later, we'll deal with it then. You know, I think what we've done, we've slowed it down at least. But I'm gonna think about a couple of things here of what we're gonna do moving forward with what we got going on here, and then we'll be back. We're coming up on 10 o'clock at night here, so I don't know how much more I'm gonna do tonight. I'm kind of thinking that, like, you know, we're gonna remake this piece and get that all in and fitting and happy with it before we go through with cutting anything else out, because right now we know that that's what we got to meet up to, and if I cut that out, then we're kind of guessing. So if I leave that out and we remake the rest of this and get the inside, you know, at least just, I'm over here. If we get this inside piece made and just get it tacked in place, then we can cut the outside out and we can get the outside made. We can get the outside all welded in. Then with this piece just being tacked in place, we can cut her a couple of tacks, pop this piece back out, and we can treat the back of the outside piece that we made, and then we can weld that back in. So I'm thinking that that's what we're gonna do, and the route that we're headed. I'm gonna look around, see if I can find some scrap metal that we can use instead of cutting out of our good sheet. I have tons of scrap metal around here, so if I can fix it in scrap metal without, you know, cutting off of the good sheet, then that's what we're gonna do. If we gotta cut off the good sheet, then we will. But I got a couple areas, you know, the tray under my thing, my cutter, I can look. I have a office drawer over there that's full of scrap metal. I got a couple pieces sitting in the corner. I'm gonna search, see what I can find. You know, and maybe I'll be back and we'll get this piece cut and maybe get it bent and see if we're headed in the right direction. Try and get this sand out of my eye. We'll be back and we'll see what we're gonna do here. I'll be back. All right. I found a piece of scrap metal. We'll see if we can do it out of this. If not, we'll have to make another piece. There's, you know, a couple of edges where we're a little short, I think, but like I said, if we can make it work, we will. So, I think we're pretty good there. It looks like it fits pretty darn well for just kind of winging it. So, I think we're fitting pretty decently here, you know, and it looks like we got enough here that we can, you know, a lot of this is rusty, but it looks like, you know, maybe an 1/8 inch needs to come off like both sides of it. But I think we're headed in the right direction here. I think this is a bit long. I think this bed needs to be moved down just a little bit. So all right, well, we moved it down, I'd say about 1/8 of an inch. Still needs more. So let's just do what we did again. Okay, so we kind of got this end flattened back out. Now we got to do something with this end. This end, if you look over here, so it curves in and it goes down to like almost nothing. But we need to try and do the same thing over here. Okay, so I hammered that flat. We're gonna come in real close here and do a bend. Now, I don't know how well that worked out for us, but we're darn close there. Okay, we're looking good. I think we need a little shrinking in here to kind of straighten this out a little bit, and then we need to do another little guy right here. So, and it looks like if you look at that side over there. So it comes in here, goes up and goes around. So, you know, we need to come in and go around here. But I think we are well on our way to having a nice piece here. So, and I think that we will be darn close to what is supposed to be there. Now don't get me wrong, this definitely needs some more work. Like I said, you can kind of see from our bend here, like we're starting to get a little bit of curve, so we gotta stretch this out. You know, this edge, we need to straighten that edge back out. You know, when we start getting this stretched out and start getting it straightened out, you know, we'll run this edge back in our English wheel. So there's a trick with the English wheel. I don't know You know, some of you may know this, some of you may not, but just, you know, something like this, if you loosen this up and you just take a piece of metal here and you stick it in the edge like that so that your wheel is crooked, then you can use just the edge of this wheel to straighten out that panel. All those wheels that come with that kit, if you have a kit like that, even the one that looks like it's almost flat, it's not flat. And you know, it only makes contact like this much of that actual die, and it's in the middle. So for us to have to run this thin strip through there, I don't care how many times you run it through there, you're not going to be making contact with this, because you know, you can only go in so far with it. So we need to jack up the edge of that wheel so that we can ride the edge of that wheel through here. I don't have one here, and I would like to get one. But there, some people out there, they're using like the cast iron steel, like dolly wheels, like almost what you would see on a jack. And they're taking that wheel. You can get them from Harbor Freight. Harbor Freight has them. And they're taking that wheel, and they're removing like the swivel part of it that would go up inside the jack or whatnot, and just taking that wheel, and they're making a rod that goes through it that fits into that, because those wheels you can get them at Harbor Freight, they're perfectly flat. So, and then that would work with this. Now I haven't done it yet. Every time I go to Harbor Freight, I forget. I would like to get one for this purpose, so that we can, you know, we can run these edges through that. And also they're using them for tipping. And what tipping is that, you know, how we're sticking this in the brake and we're putting this bend in here. Well, you can draw your line on here, and you can start running it through the English wheel, and you kind of pull down on that panel as you're running it through the English wheel, and you just keep running it through and keep putting more pressure, and it'll put a bend like this in it. It's almost like having a tipping die for your bead roller. And you know what a tipping die is it's a flat wheel on the bottom and then a sharp point top wheel. And you can do the same thing. You know, you can put this bend in a piece of metal using a tipping die, and it's basically the same thing. It's a flat bottom with the pointy top, like I said, and then you pick up or pull down whatever way you want to go as you're running it through there, and just each time you pull up a little more and a little more and a little more, and it'll put that bend in there. So so we'll get back at this next Monday, and we'll continue to work on this piece. We'll get that extra bend that we need to put in right here at the end. I have my mark there. And we'll put this in the shrinker. We'll shrink this edge up a little bit here. We may need a little bit over here once we get this one in. That's why I'm not going to do it right this minute. And then we'll set up that. I'll find a better piece of metal to stick in there than that trunk lock piece. I was just showing you that for explanation purposes. and we'll run it through there and try and get it all straightened out as you know, as best as possible. So and then yeah, like I said, you know, it looks like maybe we might need to take a little bit off of this guy, but I think we're close. We'll get back to this next week, and hopefully next week we can get this piece tacked in, and then we can cut the outside out, get the outside piece made, and hopefully installed and grinded down. And then, like I said, we'll cut the tacks, we'll pull this piece back off, we'll 2-in-1 inside there in all our new metal, the back of the weld, everything like that, and then we can put this guy in for finalization if you know, if we're happy with the way everything looks and goes. And we are gonna have to make you know, we're gonna have to make a little square for here, but that's no biggie. So I'll see you guys next Monday. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. By the time you guys see this video, it'll be a couple days after Thanksgiving, so happy Thanksgiving, happy gobble gobble day, gobble 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 gobble. Hope you guys enjoyed, ate lots of food, got stuff, took a good nap. So again, happy Thanksgiving, thanks for joining us. Remember to like, subscribe, share, leave a comment. See you guys in the next one. I'm out.
Oop.